Hi there. We just had an awesome goal setting session with people from all around the world. I had people from Europe and people from South America and people from the United States. We had doctors, we had professional businessmen, we had very successful people on here. We had single moms, we had every walk of life on this. And so what I decided to do is I'm going to give this goal session again and give you the opportunity to go through it. And what this is going to entail is you actually sitting and writing down your goals. I'll give you a couple of brain hacks to help you hit your goals. So stick with me. We're going to go through it. The thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a pen and a piece of paper, and we're going to get going on your goals to make 2025 the best year you've ever had. So let me give you the agenda. Here's what we're going to do is we're going to write things down pretty fast. We're going to do a complete data dump, getting everything out of your head and onto some paper as fast as you can. Secondly, after we get it all out, we're going to start clarifying. We're going to think about some of the details. So one common goal comes up, I want to lose weight. We'll get into how much and when and how to go through that process. But we also think about, I would like a new home. Details, what kind? I would like a new job. What kind? Details, clarify. And then lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to prioritize. So I want you to think about what's the most important and why. There's Simon Sinek who talks about the 5 whys, and we think about these 5 whys all the time. Are you ready to get started? Do you got a pen and a paper? If not, pause this, come right back. 50. I want you to get a pen and paper, and I want you to write down 50. So I want you to get your pen and paper out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 50. And once you get that done, pause this, and we'll come back to it. After you get that done, I want you to start up again. All right, so you're back. I want you to write down 50 goals as fast as you can. I want you to think about travel goals, financial goals, relationship goals, family goals, health and fitness goals, personal growth goals, career goals, business goals. I want you to think about cool stuff you'd like to have. Think about a car. Think about a house, a watch, a guitar, whatever you would like. Cool stuff. Write it down. I want you to think about people you would like to meet. If you want to go out and meet Paul McCartney or the President of the United States, write it down. Charitable goals. You want to give money away? Do you want to support a charity? Is there something that you want to do in your spare time, charitably inclined? And then I want you to think about the goals from a time frame. I want this in 3 months. I want this in 1 year. I think this is a 10-year goal. So I want you to start thinking through those, and we want to write all 50 of those down as fast as we possibly can. We also want to think about play goals, work goals, rest goals. It's like a triangle. You have play, work, and rest, and you want to make sure you're in balance with that. So pause this video. I'll see you in a minute, and we'll start it back up after you have 50 things written down. All right, now we've got all these things written down. We want to think about a term called SMART. Clarify what you want and why, and then identify your mile markers on how you're going to get there. So you think of a goal or an objective as a location that you're driving to. So when we think about SMART goals, what we're trying to do is be very specific, measurable, achievable, relevant. Some say realistic, but I think achievable is along that same line. So I like relevant, and then time-bound. So let's think about the specific goals. We want to bring clarity. If you say you want to lose weight, how much and by when? What's your objective? What is, instead of losing 40 pounds, if your ideal weight is 185, Write down my ideal weight of 185 and get that picture of what that person is going to be. We're thinking of it as that destination we want to reach. Next is measurable. How? When? With whom? Do you have an accountability partner that you can help you measure this as well? Third is achievable. Now, I talk about prohibition versus inhibition. A lot of times people go through a process in their head. It's like, well, I can't do that. And it's a limiting belief. I want you to take away all of those limiting beliefs. I want you to just write down things that could be impossible to reach. Just go ahead and write them down. I mean, I've written things down on my goals that I thought, this is just crazy, and they've come true. I've sat across from another person sitting right next to me on a plane trip, and they were a college student with a golf scholarship. We wrote goals for this person. We exchanged numbers, and I talked to him after his next 2 tournaments. He won them both and qualified to be on the PGA Tour. And the next year, he was playing with Tiger Woods, made more than $1 million. It was quite amazing. It almost seemed like an impossible goal, but there was nothing limiting him from doing that other than his beliefs. So I want you to just think as big as you possibly can on some of your goals. Relevant. Are your goals relevant? Is it realistic or is it relevant? Why? And I want you to think about your life are any of your goals trying to fit a square peg in a round hole? If I, being 6'3", and that's how much I weigh, if I wanted to be a jockey, that's not going to be relevant. It doesn't matter how much I want to do that. It's not relevant. And so to be relevant to where you're at in life and with your goals, I think it's really, really important to think of relevance. How is this relevant? Lastly, time bound. You got to put a date on it. If you don't put a date on it, it doesn't matter. So we want to put a date on it. So now we have our 50 goals. I want you to go through those 50. I want you to pull out about 5 that you want to accomplish this year, and want you to pause this and clarify those goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Put those 5 things on there. Now pause this video, go get it done. Very important. Now that you got those goals, you want to ask that why question. Why do you want that? This is where you talk yourself into it or talk yourself out of it. One caveat on goals I want to talk about is what you wanted 10 years ago might not be the same thing that you want this year. Our goals are always changing. What I wanted when I was 20 is much different than what I want in my 50s. My goals change. My desires change. And the things that I look back at what I wanted in my 20s were more egocentric. I wanted to show the world I'm this great guy. I got this cool stuff, whether it's a Rolex watch or a Ferrari or any of this wonderful stuff. Now in my 50s, I don't care about any of that right now. There are different things that I want today than I did back then. And if I go back and I look on the why that I wanted those other things at 20, is I was looking for approval. I was looking for validation for other people. And that took a little bit of soul searching to figure that out. The why is very important when it comes to your goals. Why do you want that? Why is that important? That voice in your head says, why do you want that? Don't let that voice be, why do you want that? You got plenty of people that'll take that, but that'll talk to you that way. But I want you to think, why is that important to me? Go deeper. Think about those goals as far as the why is concerned. Now, these are questions I want you to think about and ponder. What habits do I need to develop to hit these goals? Habits are extremely important, and we're going to talk a little more about the habits, because if we don't have the habits, it's very difficult to hit the goal. In fact, some people say, forget goals, just focus on your habits. I think you need to do both. What are the obstacles that are going to get in your way to keep you from hitting your goals? I think this is very, very important. Obstacles are going to get in your way and keep you from hitting those goals. There are obstacles that are going to happen. Let's say you wanted to join a gym, get yourself in physically the best shape you've ever been. So you sign up, you go to the gym, 2 weeks into it, something comes up. You have more stuff at work, you can't get off, you get out of the habit, and something is always going to come up to keep you from hitting your goals. That's why it's important to keep those focused and have a plan for these obstacles and things that are going to come up to keep you from hitting those goals. So you're going to have to set some boundaries and understand what those obstacles are and plan for it. Hitting which goals are going to make me the happiest? So think about that. What goals are going to make you really happy? Now, there's a lot of things that you'll write down, cool stuff that you want to have. I mean, I wrote down a 12-string Taylor guitar is one of my goals. But that happiness is short-lived. It is something that is fleeting. I'll get a lot of joy out of it for about 2 weeks, and then it kind of dwindles. Longer happiness has to do with relationship goals, has to do with personal growth goals, could be a physical fitness goal that you're really proud that you accomplished a marathon. The happiness and the joy from that lives much longer than stuff that you would get. But I want you to think about hitting what goals next year are going to make me the most happy. Now we're going to think about contrast. I want you to think about the ideal or perfect outcome at the end of 2025. And I want you to think about the least desirable outcome at the end of 2025. See, our brain does really well reacting to contrast. And you have to look at both sides of that issue. I don't want this, I do want this. And once you get that in writing and write that out and clarify those statements, clarify what you want, it is extremely powerful to contrast that with what you don't want. So go ahead and pause this video, get that done. Good to have you back. Now we're going to talk about 3 new habits. I want you to think about 3 new habits that you're going to implement, that you're going to master, that is going to help you hit those goals. So one habit would be, I'm going to get up every morning at this time. I'm going to have this morning routine. I'm going to have this evening routine. I'm going to go for a walk every day. I'm going to get my 10,000 steps in. That habit that makes the most difference for you. So what is that habit? Fear. This is an acronym. This is a brain hack for you. Focus, emotion, agitation, and repetition. This is where you brainwash yourself. If you want to look more into this, look for, I think it's 𝐂𝐿. He does there's a great YouTube talking about this as far as brainwashing yourself and hacking yourself to get this, to accomplish some of your goals. So focus. How do you keep these habits in focus on a daily basis so you don't forget them? Emotion. How are you going to bring these habits into an emotional realm? How do you tie emotion to these habits? deeply emotionally connected makes a big, big difference. Agitation. How do you disrupt your environment enough? It's called a pattern disrupt or a novelty. Let me tell you a story. I'm sitting on a plane, and all of a sudden on the plane, there's a passenger, and this passenger is unruly, causing a lot of tension on this plane. Every head is turned. The person next to the person who's causing the ruckus doesn't know what to do. She looks heartbroken. She looks like she's tried everything. Looks like she's definitely related. And everyone looks at her and looks at this person, and they're thinking, what is the deal? Now, as the tension gets louder and louder, and the doors are not opening on the plane because we're all ready to get off, I'm thinking to myself, do I turn around? Do I talk to this person? Do I say anything? And I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. And I turned around and I looked that person square in the eye. And I said, let me ask you a question. Pretty soon that person was smiling, laughing, talking with me. The plane was at peace like that. The question that I asked was a pattern interrupt. It was enough agitation to where it changed everything. You're probably wondering what kind of question that was. All I did was I looked at the person, looked down, and I said, what color is Barney? Is he purple or is he green? See, 2-year-olds can be pretty challenging when they're on a plane and they're not getting what they want. But you interrupt their pattern, and everything that they were thinking about is completely gone, and you want to do the same thing to interrupt your pattern, because your brain has a pattern that it's going to go do the same things it always does unless you have interruptions in that. So if you think about it, change your wardrobe, change your furniture, paint your walls. What are you going to do to change your environment or agitate your environment to keep you from doing the same patterns that you've always done? Lastly is repetition. Now, repetition is important as far as doing daily repetition. It's better to practice a musical instrument 15 times a day than trying to do it 8 hours in one day. You're going to grow and do it. So repetition, think about this. How are you going to ensure nonstop exposure to all of this? So how did we do today? What did you like about it? I want you to think about that. Pause this, pass it on to a friend, and I hope you did really well on your goals. So think about, now you've got your goals written down. You just probably need to refine them and clarify them a little bit more, but you've got it done. And I want to thank you for watching this video, and we will talk to you next time.